Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? Kevin here coming back at you with a progress report. Alright, so as you can see we got the cylinder on and top-notch welding. They welded on the broken fin. So, see if I can, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Now it's at the very bottom. No, you can't see it. Well, anyway, the broken fin at the bottom got welded on. There it is, you can see the weld on the other side. So, we have the fin welded on, so no broken fin on either side. Air filter is on. Carburetor is on. Everything's connected, hooked up. This, once again, is CDI. There are no points. I want to elaborate on that a little bit more. So I'm going to grab my flashlight here. I got a mess because I'm still working on it. Like it's still a work in progress, but is highly getting there. Alright, so we got some light on the subject. By the way, the light that I'm using is a Milwaukee, and this is the M12 series light, in case you guys ever want one of these things. They are amazing. Alright, so right up in there, you can see where the points screw hole is, right there. And then down bottom, you can see the screw where the hole is for the condenser. So there is no points or condenser in this. That is, once again, from a 96 to 2001 KE100 with the coil. Right up in there. And the spark plug that we're using is an iridium plug. It is a, what do you call it there? A resistor plug is what I wanted to say, because this thing would just look like a steady arc if you didn't have that. So I'm going to shut some lights off over here and kick this thing and show you the spark with the iridium plug. Alright, let me get this light here. Okay, so we got the light out, we got the plug out. Can't see it like that. Hold on. I wish I had my drill hooked up. I'll show you with the drill. Bear with me. Okay. See that spark? Stuff is amazing. Alright. So we have spark, we have compression, we have all new seals, engine's got oil in it. I put oil in the, what do you call it there, the oil tank for the two-stroke mix. And basically where we're at, we're waiting for the chain and sprocket, because I want to ride this thing. And looks like we'll be doing our first start next week. Right now the ground's got a ton of snow, and I really don't want to bring this thing outside in the snow. So we have two gaskets we have to make. Sorry about the shakiness. We have the gasket for this cover right here that goes right on here. The oiler is all adjusted. We got, this is, once again, I showed you in my last video, a yellow clear fuel line, and when you put the Lucas in there, it turns it green. And then of course we have green Kawasaki fuel hose for the carburetor, so it's going to look really, really cool. This way right here, you can see the oil flowing into it. I just like it doing it that way. Normally factory would be a black hose, but that works out perfect the way it is. So, you got the cover, goes up in here, blocks that off. We got the cover for the other side. Kickstarter is on. Engine turns over great. I have to kick it back a notch because it's really kind of close up in here. It doesn't, you know, not a big deal, but I want to rewrote that so it's, you know, got a little bit more clearance. Other than that, this thing is amazing. Guys, I want to touch base with you guys on my last video when I was putting the transmission together. I got to show you guys something that I did not do. A friend of mine pointed it out to me, so I want to talk to you guys about it real quick. Okay, so on this gear right here, this is the one that came out of that motor. It was all rusted up. And I told you guys about this piece right here facing the engine block. and this part right here sticks out. Now, the way this works is underneath this is a spacer. Now, I didn't have the spacer in when I did it on the video. I put that in after camera and then forgot about to do it on camera. So there is a spacer that goes underneath this. It goes spacer, this gear right here, then there's a spur gear on top of that. Then on top of that, there's a spider washer and the driver nut for your oiler. So that's how that goes. Just make sure that you guys use a spacer underneath this, and this groove right here faces the block. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys on that, because I always like to give you guys the good, all the information that I can. So I wanted to put that out there. So when I did that on that video, there is a spacer that goes underneath that, and I did put it in. I just didn't do it on camera because I'm having some trouble with the cameras, so I have to, not edit, but pause my time and check things over. And when I did check it, I forgot to put the spacer in. It's in on mine, but I forgot to do it on camera. So just a little FYI for you guys, touch base on that. And so anyway, back to what we're doing. Alright, so the, how would I put it? Okay, so I ultrasonic cleaned the carburetor. I did that a while ago. Made sure all the jets and ports and everything else was clean. I pop tested the float, which I'm going to explain to you guys that on another video. Pop testing is something I do when I'm checking the carburetors. It's the pop-off test. You basically hold it upside down. I've got a hand pump, and I put pressure to it, and I see where it pops it open. It's called a pop test. Reason for that is it checks the integrity of your needle and seat, but that's another day. I'm going to show you guys how to even make one of those, so because they're extremely expensive tools. So we're going to be doing a fun video on that. And as always, use hose clamps. I use the little wire ones on these, just because they work pretty well. So wow, I can't believe how fast this thing is coming along. I still got to reroute things, put things where I feel they need to be better. We got the plug, got the coil. This is a factory coil wire, guys, by the way, that came off this bike. I just put it onto the new CDI ignition. Now there is no module, okay? I want to talk to you guys about that. There is no CDI box. Typically you'd have a little box and a whole bunch of wiring, and that's what throws everybody off on this particular unit. It basically has that special coil in there, and it feeds this coil. This coil right here is fat, and it has the CDI module built into this coil. So I can't just take a regular coil and bolt it to this bike. It has to be this style coil, which is a Nip and Denso style coil. And I have a Suzuki part number for that, if it ever goes, but I have so many of them that I keep on hand for my bikes, for spares. I just use one of those. And I'm using all the factory hardware to bolt this coil to this bike. I'm using the factory wiring harness. I just made a little pigtail for it, just to go from a bullet connector to a spade connector. That's it. That's all I did, because I didn't want to cut up the wiring harness, and I wanted to keep everything original. A little bit more about the bike is this is the 1980 Kv75, so the air filter's got to have the bracket on it. My friend hooked me up with that, and you have how it works. You have the carburetor, and then there's a rubber insulator that goes in between them. And then this clamp right here, a lot of people can't find that clamp. That's called an exhaust clamp, by the way. They're looking for an air filter clamp, and that's not an air filter clamp. That is a muffler clamp, an exhaust clamp for a motorcycle. So keep that in mind. All next week, I'm going to be working on the fuel tank and getting that nailed down, zeroed in, and all that type of stuff. Chain and sprockets in. I got the nice side cover right here for the motor that is not blown out, so we're going to use that on this bike. So everything on this bike is original. The motor is completely original, the block. I had it welded, had it fixed right down bottom there over at Top Notch, and I had the cylinder welded. That fin that broke off, I'll show you guys a neat trick what I did. Okay, So this is a cylinder, right? These are both junk. I have two junk cylinders here. They're all gouged out, and they were just thrown in a box and just left to die. This one here, the intake got ported out, and they did an awful job doing. Whoever did that should get their Dremel taken away. But anyway, you can see right here how it's broken. Okay, on mine, only this fin right here was broken. My second one down wasn't. And it was broken just like this, except for right over here was solid. So only a chunk, but it was broken at a crack. So what I did was I took my grinding wheel and I cut off all the extra stuff. And then I took this cylinder right here. This is another junk one, and I cut it because mine was broken over here. But I cut off from here straight over, made a straight line, right like that with the cutter. And then I cut my cylinder that was on my bike, exact same angle in the exact same spot. So all they had to do is take that corner piece and just weld it on there. It was a pretty clever idea I had, and it worked out great. I didn't have to buy a cylinder or save me money. My cylinder was in great condition. I just didn't want to go ahead and replace a cylinder when I didn't have to. And I like to have all the coolant fins because these are here for a reason. What they do is they take the heat from the cylinder and dispense it out to the tips. And that's when the air flows through and cools the engine off. That's why it's called air-cooled engines. That's how it works. If you start breaking fins, now the heat just stays right here. It can't move out to the tips of the fins to get cooled. So what it does, it creates hot spots. Hot spots create overheating, creates cracking and scoring in the cylinder. So, and where these already have manufactured small, what do you call it there, heat sinks on some of them, it's a good idea to make sure that yours is nice and you have all your, what do you call it there, coolant fins. You can weld them on, the heat will still transfer through them. So that's good. It's not a barrier. It just keeps going. So I wanted to touch base with you guys on that. So basically, we've got the whole bike. We've got the whole bike basically together, except for the chain and sprocket, and put that cover back on. Then the only thing left is the tank, and this bike is complete. And then over the summer, we're gonna ride it this year, and then over the winter, I'm sorry, we're gonna start tearing it down and start restoring this thing. But I want to have some fun on this thing, and I want to get it pictured like this in this condition next to my red, yellow, and green bike, because those bikes are all non-restored bikes. So, and then what we'll do is we will restore these four over the course of the winters and go through them and modify them. I have a tricked out carburetor for this right here. I got one with a power jet in it. And like I said, this has the Kevin touch to it, the CDI. All my bikes get CDI because I don't like points. So, and like I said, if it wasn't for my friend, I would not be able to be at this point in time with this bike. This bike would be years. I've had people tell me it takes years to find some of the stuff that I've gotten. And some of the stuff is one-off, like those decals. So I've got a lot of help. And a lot of help from Top Notch doing the awesome welding job. And so I didn't have to throw away that motor. I was going to try to find another case. And it turns out I'm going to be looking for a needle in a haystack. So I had the piece that broke off. And he's like, oh, I can weld that for you. So, hey, you know what? Do it. If you think you can do it, have at it. It's already broken. What you gonna do? Just break it more? Destroy it? You know? So I was able to get that done. All new seals, new gaskets, gone right through everything. New piston rings. Original piston, but new rings. I was able to get a new ring kit for this on eBay. So I lucked out. It just came on. I bought that probably a week after I got this bike when I got those rings. So I was really, that was like months ago. It was new old stock and they were decent money. So I was out there delivering oil, and I saw him. I'm like, ah, you know what? Ooh, 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 I need those. And boom, and there I go. And then I thought after that point that this would be an easy restore. Yeah, right. But if you guys have a project like this, keep your head up. Just keep plugging away at it. You know, clean it and do everything you got to do to it. Do your assessments like I told you. You know, walk around and say, okay, I need this, this, and this. Find a starting point. Like I started with the tires because I had a tire that came with it. So now it's got 2 new tires on it, 2 new tubes. This bike's ready for a road. You know what I mean? So seat cover, tail light, the license plate was a bonus, which was awesome. That's staying right on that bike. And the headlight assembly, you know, and then it just escalates from there. You pick a system, pick electrical. I'm going to work on all the electrical, which is what I did. So I did the switches, did the headlight, the tail light, and the wiring harness. Okay, that's all done. Now we're going to go in and we're going to do tires, brakes, wheel bearings. Boom. Boom. Then now we're going to do chain and sprocket. It's a whole other system. So I already got the front one on. We got to put the back one on and the chain. You know, pick a system, just work with it. Stay with that until you got everything complete on it. You know, we used the engine in its condition to to build the CDI, dial it in. Once we got it dialed in, okay, now we can take apart the motor, because now when I go to start this thing, it's going to fire right up. Timing's already dialed in. So now I did the CDI on a few other videos a while back. This thing's already dialed in. I am set to go with this. So once I put fuel to it, that's it. It's off she goes. It's off to the races. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a premix on the first start, because the oil line is dry unless I get a bleed all the way up to the line, which I don't think I'm going to. I might do a vacuum bleed. I'm going to try that. I have not tried that yet on this. So I'm going to try to do a vacuum bleed. And if I can, I'm going to share that on the channel and show you guys how you can bleed it all the way without having to go through all kinds of extra stuff. So we're going to be working on that this week. That's the plan for that. And other than that, I can't think of anything else. Just thank you for everybody involved in helping me with this. It's been a real honor just having you guys' hand in this. And I got a good bike. You know what I mean? So that's going to be sitting in my collection for a trillion years. Probably buried with this one. So we got some stuff we got to do on it still, but nothing dramatic. All the hairy stuff is done. And then now I got to pick up my mess because I got stuff everywhere, guys. Everywhere. So we got to make some gaskets. I'm going to do a video on how I make gaskets. And hopefully you guys can chime in if you guys have any other better ways. But I'm going to show you guys how I do it. I'm going to get some gasket material this week. And probably Monday or Tuesday we'll do a video on that. But other than that, I can't complain. This thing has been an honor to work on it. Definitely been a pleasure. And I'm very happy with the outcome. So we got the tailpipe. I remember I was telling you about the exhaust. We did the exhaust. That the tailpipe and the what do you call it? The baffle. So that the flame arrestor in the baffle. It's all coming together. It's all done, you know. Brakes are all on. New brakes, everything, guys. I gotta get some tire caps for it, but other than that, I can't complain. So now I want to ride it. So anyway, guys, I'm out. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and doing these fun projects. And thank you for all your support. And we're going to keep plugging away. We still got to get on the wife's chappy. So today's my wife's birthday. So if you guys want to chime in down bottom, wish her a happy birthday. Her name is Laura. And the Yamaha chappy is hers. We get some cool stuff coming in for that. And we're going to make that, we're going to personalize that bike. We're going to try to modify the RX-50 exhaust onto the Yamaha chappy. So that's going to be a cool, fun project. We're going to try that out. So we got some stuff, guys. We got a lot of projects This is nothing. So I got to start on the, well, not start, we already started on, but we got to work on the tank this week. Get that tank done. And, yeah, we got to get cracking. I want to ride this thing. Spring is here, guys. Of course, there's snow on the ground, so I don't feel bad about the condition of this bike at the moment. So, anyway, I'm out. You guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.